Other guests joining me on the debate tonight, Sanju Verma, National Spokesperson of the BJP, Sushant Sareen, Senior Fellow at the ORF. Also joining me tonight is Syed Faisal Ali, Spokesperson of the RJD, Ghanshyam Tiwari, Spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, Riju Dutta, National Spokesperson of the Trinamool Congress. But my first question goes to Tehseen Poonawalla, political analyst. Straight charge from General VK Singh. The Congress is trying to distract attention away from the ED, picking up and inciting people in various parts of the country to come onto the streets, and helped by other political parties as well.
At the onset, while General VK Singh is not listening to the debate, I would like to thank him for his services to the country. It is because of people like him we are safe, despite my political opposition to him. And I'd like to ask some very, very specific questions of both Sushantji or Sanju Vermaji, who are present here today. There are three very specific questions and charges that I have. Number one, and this is the most important question, that why did we not have a pilot project for this? The government is saying, look, they will be recruited in either the Uttar Pradesh police or the Haryana police or the central forces. You could have done a pilot project to see how this pans out, whether the recruitment process works out or it doesn't work out. So my first charge is that there is no job guarantee once this tenure ends of 4 years, or actually 3 years. The second part is this 100% recruitment, 75% people will be let off and 25% people will be retained. Now, how does the army guarantee, because they've not spoken about a transparency of this process, how do they guarantee that this 25% that is retained is not due to either corruption or due to political pressure that comes onto the people who are recruiting these people, and there is no unionization as a result of that? And the third and very important process that I want to ask is, once these people retire, okay, you'll give them 10, 11, 12 lakh rupees, but that is not sufficient to start a life by itself, because you've broken your education and you've not acquired new skills in the time while you were in the army to be recruited in a skilled job. Why doesn't the government in such a case then come out with a skill development program, an interest-free program, an interest-free loan, so at least these people who've left after 4 years can acquire some sort of skill? The onset is, this is a project that has been announced to manage headlines. There is absolutely no pilot project, and we are heading towards a disaster. We have 2 lakh vacancies in the army, and the government has not filled even that in so far.
Would you want to respond to that, Sushant Sareen?
Yeah, so on the three questions which Tehseen has asked, I think this one about the job guarantee and how people will be picked up out of that 70, the 25%. I think that's a bit of a red herring. Number one, there is no job guarantee anywhere. But in this particular case, there is a scheme where there will be some absorption, about 25%, and those people will be picked on the basis of their performance. In the army, for example, there is a constant evaluation which happens of both the officers as well as the men. To say that, it will be done on the whims and fancies of somebody, and there will be not some kind of a system on the basis of which you will pick up the, the top 25% who will be given the option of staying on in the army, and you will let go of the rest. So I don't think that's a matter of great concern. What happens to the other 75%? I think some of them are likely to be absorbed in CAPFs and others. But I agree with Tehseen that there can be and there should be, and as General VK Singh himself indicated, you can probably tweak this thing and you can add something to this program going forward, which means that yes, if there is some kind of a system that after 4 years there's some kind of skill development scheme for the guys who are going to be demobilized, I think there's merit in that particular suggestion. The second thing Tehseen spoke about was, on the 12 lakhs. Look, maybe 12 lakhs is not too much for somebody like Tehseen, or maybe for me or you, Navika, but for a vast majority of people who will join the army through this scheme, to get out of the army after 4 years with 12 lakhs of rupees helps them to start some kind of work. They can buy a tractor, they can buy, they can probably open a small shop, They can do many things if they want to do it. There is a corpus available to them which would not be there for them if they were not going to be part of this scheme. Number two. And the third thing which Tehseen asked was on the pilot project. Well, you know, that's an argument that can be made, that could there have been a pilot project? Again, for how long would that pilot project have gone on? Would it have gone on for 4 years, 8 years to see how the whole thing works? The government in its wisdom decided that they will go forward with this particular scheme. Now they will probably have to make some adjustments, some tweaking here and there to make the scheme more effective and more palatable. But for the people who are indulging in arson, rioting, I think they don't deserve to join the army in any case. I can understand some people feeling left out. I can understand some people feeling a little shortchanged. But for them to go and indulge in arson and indulge in a behavior following the Jinnah dictum that we will either rule India or destroy it, these are people who are saying we will either join the army or burn the country down. But how crazy is that? I can understand that, you know, people will want to protest, people will demand some changes be made in the scheme. They will try and see that if people who have been left out because of COVID and others get a chance. But whether that happens or not is anybody's case. And one final point, Navika, a lot of people have been raising this issue in general. VK Singh mentioned, you know, the number of months of training. Look, the US Marine Corps trains, the basic training which is given before people are inducted in the Marine Corps is, I believe, 13 weeks, which is just over 3 months or just about 3 months, right? You are training somebody for 6 months. Once these people have finished 4 years, you have a trained manpower and training will continue. So, you know, people are just jumping the gun on this thing. Let us see how this scheme works out.
That's the biggest point.
If there are problems, I'm sure there will be fixes which will be brought in.
That's the point. And Riju Dutta, are political parties jumping to conclusions even before giving any time for the scheme to be unfolded, to come out? There are states which have come out and said, there's the Home Minister who's come out and said that CAPF will take these people. Are people in a hurry, but suna nahi, and on the street and start burning things? Is that really going to help anything in this country? You can take any decision. There is a new scheme that comes out. It will take time for it to filter down, for things to happen, and nothing is set in stone. Allow something to begin and it can be tweaked. Why are political parties so agitated, especially in this case? Can they hold themselves back? Because we're talking about the defense services, and this is nobody's game, least of all a political game.
2014. Navika ji, first of all, you know, post 2014, schemes after schemes we have seen in this country where the Union Government has made a mockery of people's lives. For God's sake, a soldier cannot be part-time. He trains half his life and then he spends rest of the life guarding our borders and our motherland. A soldier is our pride and glory, and you want to make him a contractual employee? The problem why we see rioting on the streets and India is burning today is because tens of crores of youths are jobless in this country. Why? Because all the institutions that used to recruit the most amount of youth, like the SAIL, BHEL, LIC, Indian Railways, everything is being sold off. Everything is privatized. There is no jobs. So basically what has happened in this country is that, you know, Modi ji and the Modi Sarkar has become like that Turkish ice cream man when it comes to jobs for the youth. First they said 2 crores, then the finance minister on the floor of the parliament said 12 lakh jobs in 5 years, that is 60 lakhs. Now it has come down to 10 lakhs in 1.5 years, and now you have to give contractual employment for the armed forces. Come on, you know, the people of this country want jobs, the youth want jobs, the soldiers who are those who protect us, you cannot play with the soldiers with, you know, with some fictional movie that you see. Agnipath may be a movie that you like, but you cannot play with the lives of our youth for that. 17 and a half, you are recruiting somebody, putting a gun in after training him for 6 months and sending him to the borders. And after 4 years, what Mr. Sareen said, that with 12 lakh rupees he can buy a tractor. मतलब एक दिन में वो देश का सेना है और दूसरे दिन उनको आप किसान बनाओ या चौकीदार बना दोगे, और किसान का भी तो हिस्सा आपने छीन लिया है. तो ये क्या तमाशा चल रहा है? What is the drama? And thank God, now again India is burning after 3 days, but BJP cannot blame the Muslims regarding this.
BJP, sorry. What's the last bit that you said? I get very scared what people say, when I'm already asking the next guest. क्या बोला आपने?
I know, I can understand. मैंने ये बोला है कि India is again burning within a span of barely 3 days, and BJP this time round can't blame the Muslims for it.
Okay. Sanju Verma, respond.
Navika, first things first. Point number 1, the existing military recruitment structure is not being dismantled. For anyone who wants to retire from the Indian Army, you still have to sit for competitive exams. You still have to sit for the UPSC. And if you clear the UPSC, you clear the selection board criteria, you clear the physical fitness exam, you can be a part of the National Defense Academy in Pune, or the Officers Training Academy in Gaya, or the Military Training Academy in Dehradun. And once you are a member of either of these, you can be a part of the Permanent Commission of the Indian Army, which basically means you can retire till you are of a certain age, 60 years in this case. All that the government is doing is adding another layer to the entire structure of recruitment to make the Indian Armed Forces leaner, fitter, more competitive. I want to ask one simple question. What is the normal age at which an eligible adult in India usually gets a job, be it in the government or the private sector? It is anywhere between 21 to 22 years of age. So, the Modi government is saying that prior to that, at 17 and a half, you have the option of getting into a 4-year contractual agreement whereby you will be given world-class training, you will be imparted discipline, you will be imparted the requisite skill set, and after 4 years, you have the option, and the government on the basis of merit will also have the option to decide whether you can be a part of the regular armed forces cadre. And you have also the option after 4 years to pursue an alternative career. You might want to become a doctor, an engineer, a company secretary, a chartered accountant, what have you. Now, I will focus on one important thing which VK Singh told you, Navika. I am not somebody who suffers from persecution complex. I don't believe in conspiracy theories. But chronology samajhiye. Be it GT Road in Bulandshahr, be it Buxar in Bihar, be it places like Rewari in Haryana, Unnao in Uttar Pradesh, or National Highway 83 in near Jehanabad. Have you seen the crowd that was protesting against Agnipath? Did they from any angle look like people who want to be recruited into the armed forces? Any sane-minded individual with even basic common sense knows if you're an armed forces aspirant, you are not going to be pelting stones, you are not going to be vandalizing trains, you are not going to be burning train bogies, you're not going to be indulging in arson, looting. So this is a coordinated conspiracy by who? Do I need to say that tomorrow the scion of the Congress party, Rahul Gandhi, will be facing the enforcement directorate again? Kahin pe nigah hai, kahin pe nishana. And I will end by
Sanju Verma, I don't think you are updated. He's taken leave of absence and he's going to appear only on Monday. So let's not get into these conspiracy theories. And if you are saying what did these people look like, would you elaborate? कौन थे ये लोग? आपको पता होना चाहिए. कौन थे?
Navika ji, let me finish my last point and the most important point. Before coming to your debate, I dug up the data. Which are the states which have the highest per capita recruitment into the armed forces? It is Himachal Pradesh at 402. 402 Indians per every million. Second is Uttarakhand at 271 Indians per every million. Third is Jammu Kashmir region at 185 per million. Fourth is Punjab at 174 per million. Mizoram at 1 22 per million. The top 6 states which recruit massively and employ or deploy people into the armed forces. Have you seen rioting there? Have you seen rioting?
Very good point made by Sanju Verma. Respond. I'm coming to all of you, Tehseen, Riju Dutta, but first I want to get in Ghanshyam Tiwari. Very important statistics being given by Sanju Verma ji there, and she's given you which are the states that recruit the most, and these arson and these stone pelting hasn't happened in those states. What does that prove, Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari?
Good evening, Navika ji, to you, fellow co-panelists, as well as the viewers. There are 3 things that are very important. One, the youth of India do not trust Mr. Modi and his government that these people are going to provide jobs to the youth. They believe that these people are going to create jumlas and take away those jobs, and as a result, they protest. They have seen what has happened in the case of railways. Particularly in the case of Indian armed forces, to the parliament, the same government has replied, and I'm quoting Rajnath Singh's reply and his deputy Ajay Bhatt's reply, that said that typically 9700 recruitment rallies used to happen for armed forces recruitment in 2018 and 19. That dropped down to 57, and then last year it was just 4 recruitment rallies. So they have significantly dropped down the recruitment of youth in Indian armies, and that is where there has been articles written about it. While the government has say in Parliament that the number of vacancies in Indian Defence Forces is near 1 lakh. This is vacant positions across the 3 forces we have. So clearly, a government that said that आप 40,000 का loan ले लीजिए and you become a job creator, you are Atmanirbhar, that is Mudra loan. Not a single document this government proves that Mudra loan created jobs. The government that said that there is an Atmanirbhar package of 20 lakh crore that create job in the course of pandemic, that is not the job. The government that is saying right now that they have this Agnipath scheme that will enable the 70 to 21-year-old they do not believe that is jobs. Rather contrary, the youth in Bihar, in Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, and other parts believe that this is another
conmanship by this government, and in fact, JDU, which is an alliance partner in this government at the central level and the state level, has officially advised this government to roll back scheme. You are asking General VK Singh whether he was consulted.
What's your point? What's your point, Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari? Are you saying that this scheme proves that Modi is the most unpopular leader and he just wins elections every now and then despite being most unpopular? What are you trying to say?
If you say that again and again for 2 years that I'll create 2 crore jobs every year, and your job report card says that you have taken away jobs. The youth today remain unemployed. You've taken away jobs from railways. The railways reported that they have reduced over 76,000 positions.
But do you want the defense forces to be a job creation scheme? Sanju Verma, are they looking at this entire scheme from the wrong lens? They expect this to be a Rozgar Yojana?
You know, Navika, what I fail to understand is that nowhere has the government said that the Indian Armed Forces is being treated as an employment exchange. We are simply adding another layer to the recruitment process. As VK Singh told Navika a couple of minutes back, you have the permanent commission where you can serve till you are eligible for retirement. You have the short service commission, which initially had a period of 5 years was the entire length of the short service commission, which was eventually raised to 10 years with another option of 4-year extension. So this process is a dynamic and evolving one. And I just want to say one thing to Ghanshyam Tiwari. ये जो बार-बार बेरोजगारी की बातें आ रही हैं, Ghanshyam Tiwari, I'm willing to be held accountable. As per EPFO data, every month India adds 1.3 million new subscribers, 13 lakh new subscribers. तो 8 साल में कितने हो गए? 12.48 crore new subscribers if you do the math. 12.48 crore people have actually benefited directly or indirectly from Modi government's formal employment schemes. And Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari, you forget that under the Mudra Yojana, 19 lakh crore has been given to you know how many people? 34 2 crore individuals. तो ये 34 करोड़ लोग जो आज आत्मनिर्भर हो गए हैं थैंक्स टू मुद्रा योजना, इनको आप क्या कहेंगे? अनएम्प्लॉयड, सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयड एंड सेल्फ रिलायंट? Please answer that.
Well, very, you can't fault her on the data that she's got, and if you don't have any data to give to counter her, then I think she settled the debate on that score. But let me get in Syed Faisal Ali. फैसल अली साहब, ये सबसे ज्यादा बिहार में आगजनी क्यों हो रही है? Why are we seeing arson visuals coming in? People are burning trains. Are these the people, and that's the question I want to ask you, are these people fit to go to army if they were to, if they are participating in these kind of activities of burning trains and creating road blockages? Because the armed forces is a place where discipline is of the highest importance. I want to ask you this.
Well, Navika, you should ask the question to the BJP spokesperson, because the state is ruled by BJP and JDU. We are in the opposition. We are the major opposition party in Bihar. The problem in Bihar is that Bihar, of course, is underdeveloped state, and a lot of people look at army for job. And if you remember, in January, similar situation happened in Bihar when there was some problem due to railway recruitment crisis. Same number of people came on the street, and the same amount of contempt which we see now when the BJP spokesperson was addressing, we saw then. The problem is that this is not the misinterpretation of misinformation reaching to the people. The problem is that the people of Bihar or people of these states where unemployment rate is higher than other states in the south, they don't trust this government. Their anger, their frustration, their joblessness, these are all the is being manifested in today's agitation. You cannot corner Bihar, and you cannot look at Bihar from different yards. It's not only in Bihar, it's happening in Haryana, it's happening in your most loved state, Uttar Pradesh, it's happening in all the states where BJP is ruling. So first of all, please blame right persons who are ruling the state. Secondly, I condone the violence, but as far as protest is concerned, you must realize that why these protests are taking place. We are not addressing the root cause. All these learned panelists, I think they know much more than Mr. VK Singh, who was an army chief. You see what he was saying tongue-in-cheek. I think the BJP spokesperson is a sociologist, is a political scientist, is a military analyst, all in one. The problem is that when you start wearing all the hats and all the caps on one person, these problems arises. You have asked this question to General VK Singh, that he admitted that he has not been consulted. This is a very normal practice, that if an expert is at home, you check with him, you confirm about your policies, you try to understand pros and cons of the policy before it. But he has not been consulted.
Sanju Verma ji, I will have to request you not to speak over other people. I will give you a chance, but let's not speak over each other where I can't make out what is being said and whether what is being said is parliamentary or not. So please, I'll come back to you for a rebut. Yes, Mr. Ali.
No, it is parliamentary. No. Let me finish. What is the problem with this government? Whenever it comes with any new scheme, is this we are celebrating 75 years of our independence, and we have seen many governments. But what is the problem with this government? That whenever it comes with any scheme or any law, they came up with farm laws, and the farmers came on the street and they said they don't understand the law. They came up with demonetization. Still the economists are wondering what happened with the demonetization. They came up with so many other things. Now they have come up with a new scheme for recruitment in the army, and those who are aspiring to join army, they are saying that they don't understand. The problem is that the government of India, the present government of India, is not understanding the problem, the root cause of unemployment. They are not addressing the youth. They are addressing only Ambani, Adani, and the higher
okay, all right. We are back to rhetoric. Sanju Verma, I'm coming to you. But I first want to get in Sushant Sareen. Sushant Sareen, have the opposition parties tasted blood just because the farm laws was rolled back and they see yet another opportunity? I'm asking you whether this has become another political opportunity for the opposition to try their luck to put the BJP on the back foot.
Look, the opposition is entitled to protest everything. It's a Pavlovian response, regardless of what or how good a scheme will be. The response of the opposition is going to be exactly what it is now, and I suspect that there is some amount of provocation coming from the opposition side to some of these crowds in the kind of arson and rioting which is happening. But I don't have any evidence to say that, but I think one can sense something like that. I have a point of correction to make on what Sanju Verma has been saying. She has confused the recruitment in the army of people in the officer rank and people below officer rank.
Yes.
In the officer rank, yes, there is the IMA, there is the NDA, there is the OTA. But in people below officer rank, I think that is where this new scheme has come in, and it's a tectonic shift. It's still not very clear, because even what General VK Singh said didn't make it very clear. I don't think that the old scheme of recruitment operates anymore. I think this scheme is replacing it. Now, some amount of reaction in the public is understandable. If they don't understand, that's understandable, because a 200-year-old scheme is now being changed to a new thing. And there are valid reasons for that, including financial, including military, and including technical reasons for going in for this new scheme. To say that just because General VK Singh was not consulted, nobody was consulted, and Mr. Modi or Mr. Rajnath Singh got up one fine day and decided to put this scheme in, that's utter nonsense. This debate and discussion on this particular scheme, Navika, has been going on for around 2 years. It was, of course, not brought in the public. Perhaps had it been brought into the public, might have been better. You would have got a lot of other suggestions coming in, but you are getting suggestions even now. And going forward, if you feel that there is a need for either increasing the time period from 4 to 5 years or doing some other stuff, that can always be done. I don't think that's a big deal. And again, as General VK Singh said, that when earlier schemes had been brought in for OTA and others, you never went ahead and consulted people on that. One final point, Navika, which I wanted to just push back on. To justify rioting on the streets on the basis of joblessness, then I want to understand from the gentleman from the TMC that all the killings and pogroms which are taking place in West Bengal, are they because of joblessness, and isn't that Mamata Banerjee's failure? Now, if this is the kind of logic which you are going to use to justify violence on the streets, to justify arson, to justify rioting, then then it's like a free for all for everybody.
Absolutely.
There is joblessness, but neither the
Riju Dutta respond to that.
First of all, Navika ji, nobody justified violence. Nobody justified violence.
1 minute.
Let me reiterate
Mr. Ali, you can't constantly be speaking. I'm coming to all panelists turn by turn. I will come back to you, but you can't constantly be speaking. There is the TMC representative who also deserves a chance to speak. Kindly just wait for your turn. Yes, Riju Dutta.
Thank you, Navika ji. See, first of all, we condemn violence. We don't support for violence. So nobody said that we justified violence. I only just said that the youths are on the street because there are no jobs. Secondly, Sumanji very categorically said from where the highest recruitments take place, and there are no problems there. But the states which have faced, but the states, I don't know again who is speaking here.
He's asking you a question. Aren't people on the streets in West Bengal? Aren't people on the streets in West Bengal time and again?
No, people are not. People are not on the streets in West Bengal because of Agni. People were on the streets because a fringe element and an irresponsible person abused a religion, and she's still roaming scot-free. That is why people are on the streets. To the topic, my question is very simple. The states where we have seen most amount of violence and arson because of this Agnipath project are the states that are ruled by BJP. So it again exposed their double engine disaster. Secondly, BJP before the election said one rank, one position in the army, and I'm reminding all the viewers about this. As soon as the election got over, it turned out to be another jumla. And last but not the least, the most important point that I want to drill across now, that the age with which this project will recruit boys will be at the age of 17 and a half years. 17 and a half years means that boy is not even eligible.
Sanju Verma, I'm coming to you, Sanju ji. I'm coming to you, Sanju ji. We can't have a debate with everybody speaking over each other. Let him complete the 3 questions and then you answer everybody's questions.
Thank you.
Yes.
He's been going on and on, Navika. He's been going on and on, rattling out.
Ma'am, allow me to moderate, please. Please allow me to moderate.
No.
Yes, Riju Dutta ji. Complete your point.
Thank you. My last point I want to drill across is, yes, my last 10 seconds is that the age of recruitment in this Agnipath project is 17 and a half years. At that age, a boy is not even qualified for a driver's license, and that age is barely where even you don't cross class 12. Now, these boys, after 6 months of training, when they will be barely 18 years old, that means a boy studying in class 12 will be privy to sensitive informations of the country, joining the army, and they probably will be facing China and Pakistan in the borders. Are you kidding me?
May I?
All right. Sanju Verma, respond.
Okay, first things first.
Navika, please ask him what age do people join at right now?
Who was, giving lecture to the BJP. All I will tell you is, रस्सी जल गई पर बल नहीं गया. पहले चुनाव जीतिए, बाद में बीजेपी को भाषण दीजिए. Sushant Sareen made some interesting, but I am not confused. I know that the Agnipath scheme is only applicable to our jawans and not to officer rank cadre. All I was saying was, if you want to retire from the armed forces under the aegis of a permanent commission, you have to sit for competitive exams. So, Mr. Sareen, I was not confused. Now, coming to the most important point, Riju Dutta made some allegations. Let me tell you, which is the government which implemented one rank, one pension? Modi government. Which is the government which said that women will be a part of the permanent commission? Since February 2020, more than 577 women enjoy permanent commission status. Which is the government which has said that, women will be inducted on a war footing into Sainik schools or young girls? The Modi government. Congress ke waqt par, we never had a defense outlay of more than 1.90 lakh crore. Do you know what was the defense in the budget announced in February 2022? 5.25 lakh crore. What was the defense outlay last year? 4.78 lakh crore.
China is building a bridge in Arunachal Pradesh. That is why China is building a bridge in Arunachal Pradesh.
For more than 2 or 3 decades, one rank, one pension was a figment of people's imagination. We have given out more than 47,000 crore to more than 21 lakh.
But ma'am, how does that answer the questions on Agnipath? The question really here is on Agnipath, and that is the issue. And Sushant Sareen, the 17-and-a-half-year children who are going to be joining was the worry of Riju Dutta. You were responding to him on the age.
I was just asking him, at what age do people join the army right now? Does Mr. Dutta know that? So, this is just manufacture something because he heard it from somewhere, so he is now parroting it out here. And to say that somebody who joins the age
to 24
and becomes a full-fledged soldier and joins a unit by the age of 18 and is sent to the frontier, that's happening even now. Isn't that happening right now? So, and to say that how are you going to give these sensitive secrets to these people?
Let go after 4
you are not
years.
going to be giving them any top class secrets, state secrets, right? And many of the people who retire after 15 years, what is the guarantee that they will not disclose secrets? There are people who are already serving in the army who are falling for honey traps. What about their level of maturity, that somebody who suddenly thinks that somebody like an Angelina Jolie is in love with him, that the guy's got to be mad in his head, right? He should just look at himself in the mirror and know that Angelina Jolie is not going to be in love with him. But people are like that. So how are you going to say that, no, I will not recruit anybody until a particular age? It's a nonsensical argument, right? Just one more point where I have to check again. Number one, you can't mix up the recruitment of officers and people, persons below officer rank
And that's like comparing apples and oranges and talking about permanent commission and temporary commission. Number one. Number two, on the defense budgets, yes, in absolute terms, the defense budgets have been going up year after year. But if you look at it in relative terms, Navika, the defense budget in India today has been falling as a percentage of GDP. Normally, it should be about 2.5 to 3%. Even if you say 3% is excessive, 2.5%. It has fallen below 1.5%, and this is as low as it was during the 1962 war. So yes, in quantum, it has gone up. In relative terms, defense budgets have been coming down.
Tehseen Poonawalla, raising his hand for a long time. Sorry, Tehseen.
No problem.
Your point.
Two very important technical points that I want to raise. Number one, there has been no study done with the cost, whether they'll go up or low. And my feeling is the cost will go up with the cyclic training. Because you see, there'll be one batch of 75% of the recruits that will retire after 4 years. And there'll be a new batch that comes in. So again, the training costs are absolutely going to go up. Again, there's been no study done on that. The second part is somebody who's been retained at 25%, the 75% you've let go. After 4 years, he has to go back to the bottom and start all over again. He does not start with 4 years of experience. I think, and that has been clarified, please Sanju Verma, that has been absolutely clarified. Even Sushant ji was on the other show. That is absolutely, in my opinion, wrong. Third thing, Sanju Verma is absolutely wrong on EPFO data. Pulak Ghosh report says very, very categorically that EPFO cannot be a barometer for employment generation, and there are various reasons for it. And fourth, the Mudra loan, the average Mudra loan is 40,000 rupees. What jobs are you creating in 40,000 rupees?
A defaulter. So please, folks.
What is Vijay Mallya got to do in an army debate?
Pulak Ghosh is the man who gave the LOC to Vijay Mallya, despite knowing Vijay Mallya was a defaulter.
I'm talking about the economist Pulak Ghosh, the SBI.
People, 1.3
from SBI.
Are new subscribers into EPFO on an average every month.
But if you get 1% in, you're going to recruit. You mislead by thinking 20 new jobs are created. If a company has 19 employees and it hires one more, you're misled into thinking 20 jobs are created.
Well, that's neither here nor there, ladies and gentlemen. You might argue about the EPFO data till the cows come home, but that is not going to solve your Agnipath issues on the ground. At the moment, questions that are being raised have been answered. Is this scheme set in stone? Certainly not. Will it evolve as it goes along? Yes, it will. And in fact, I just interviewed Lieutenant General Anil Puri a short while ago, who said very, very clearly that CAPF, state police forces, and all of those decisions and notifications will be coming out in terms of jobs that will be given to those people who come out of the armed forces after this 4-year stint as Agniveers. The question is, are we taking too long to convince the people on the streets? Is the communication that is lacking in this entire scheme? It's the understanding which is going haywire because people are being misled. Well, somewhere in the middle of this, we're seeing the youth up in arms. The question is, if the communication is a problem, then the communication needs to improve and fast. And if there are some people who are being misled, I'd just like to put out one request to all political parties with folded hands, that this is about our defense services. This is about security. This is about security of our motherland, our country, India. On this, can we please refrain from politics? Small request from 1 billion people in this country. Can political parties please oblige? Thank you very much for joining me on the NewsHour tonight.